Hi, what up, YouTube? This is No Cap, No Filter. I'm your host, Marley G, back at y'all on the episode of Running With You. And tonight I want to run it with y'all about y'all financial budgeting, your savings, and just making the smart decisions for these holidays, man. For the holidays, a lot of us have a lot of pressure. You want to spend time with family as much as possible. You want to do things for family, friends, most of all, kids. You want to be able to always make every function. Uh, a lot of people got birthdays during the holidays, so you you got a lot of birthday invites. You got a lot of holiday invites. You got your kids for Christmas gifts. You got Halloween costumes. You have Halloween parties. You have Christmas parties, New Year's parties, and it's a lot to intake for a parent, especially a single parent, and they trying to cover all these expenses and make all these invitations. And man, sometimes you just gotta say no, man. Maybe next year. Or thanks for the invite, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. Or you gotta sit your kids down if they're too young to have that talk about Santa Claus. You know, then you gotta talk to them a certain way. But once they understand, it's you that's getting these gifts, you gonna have to tell them, man. You gonna have to tell your daughter. You might have to hold out for that next phone into income tax season. You don't need the latest phone if your current phone is currently working properly. You don't need, a new video game console if you have a current gen video game console that is working properly. If your son want a new video game console, some things may have to just wait. Like don't go broke during these holidays. You know, um, even with friends gonna have a lot of outings. Friends have friendsgiving. Friends have you know uh, Christmas parties that they hold amongst each other. Besides the family Christmas party, and New Year's, everybody gonna be out. And if your funds not looking right, it's gonna always be another time. It's gonna always be another party. It's gonna be always be another chance for a gift to get your loved ones. It's gonna always be another chance to take your girl out and make her happy. Not for all by all means. I'm not saying don't do nothing at all. Like if you have the funds to at least do something of significance and can do something decent, go ahead on and do something for somebody. They should be able to appreciate that and appreciate the effort. You know, because if you dealing with somebody who's just think they're entitled to the best of the best every single time, then you really need to have a sit down and have a talk with them if they're in your circle like that. But for the most part, you know, you ain't gotta go all out and extravagant. You know, just do something very subtle. Do something very thoughtful. But at the same time, do something at the very least. Um, at the end of the day, time is the most important thing you could give somebody. So even if it's as little as spending time together with your family, you know, go ahead on and do that. Make some memories, cause that's one thing that people can always cherish more than a gift is making everlasting memories. But as far as the getting all these expensive gifts, man, we in a capitalist country. America is a business, not a country. This is a capitalism society, and all they trying to do is make money. All these ads gonna be in your face. All these ads gonna be in your algorithm. Everybody trying to sell you this. Everybody trying to sell you that. Look, at some point you could get burnt out. You already got a lot of subscriptions that you probably not even using no more that you need to go ahead on and cancel. So don't be adding to your plate with unnecessary purchases and showing up to all these invites for all these parties that you ain't gonna be able to just go to. Now, certain parties is understandable to go to, like your main family party. Go ahead on and go to that. You know, especially if you could get off of work. But if you got a decision to make whether you gotta go to work and get this overtime during these holidays and go with your family, go ahead on and do what's best for you at the time. You know, and your family can understand if you do be at work during those times, but you gotta make up for it the day before or the day after. You know, um, but certain things, of course, you want to spend time with the family and you know do your best to show up for these different events. You know, but certain other things, man, it can wait. If your finances ain't looking good, it can wait. Cause right now, dog, a lot of people be cheerful during this time. People get in the Christmas spirit. It's a lot of positive vibes going around, but that's not for everybody. Everybody's circumstances is different. Certain people is real stressed out right now. They can't get no overtime at their job. Uh, Side hustle is they gotta put way more effort into their side hustles just to, you know, be able to afford certain things for their loved ones around them. You know, and they going hard as they can right now just to make ends meet and be able to do some type of gifts to show they love. And me, I'm glad I wasn't that type of kid who put that type of pressure on my moms. Like once I got old enough to understand that was my mama getting them gifts, I was good. Like I was never the type of kid that needed the latest phone, needed the latest gaming console, needed the latest, you know, technology or whatever. I was a real the thought that counts type of person. You know, so if you do got kids like that, you better cherish that and appreciate that because some kids don't give a damn. If you don't get this certain thing that they ask for, they're gonna be a spoiled brat about it. And that's the thing you gotta teach your kids. Don't be, you know, entitled and be so spoiled. Like if you want something that bad, you gotta go ahead on and get it. And if your parents can't get it, then you gotta make them be able to understand. It's just wasn't a good time. You know. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta just work hard, set goals, and put yourself in a position to where you are able to do nice things for your loved ones, you know, and on top of that, have time left over to be able to attend certain events, you know. So work hard, have goals in mind, and attend to them, and be productive, and hopefully one day, you know, all these needs could be met without any type of stress or worry. You know, because your mental health is the most important thing. You know, without your mental health and without you being the best that you could be, how can people count on you? But I just wanted to share that with y'all real quick, man. Don't go broke these holidays trying to appease everyone. You know, it's gonna be okay to say no to some people. You ain't gotta be a people pleaser if you are. You know, you ain't gotta do that. Sometimes it's good to say no and respectfully say no. You know, um, because trust me, a lot of people will say no to you if the shoe was on the other foot. So you got to do what's best for you, man. That's all I'm saying. Um, if you enjoyed this content, go ahead on and hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, what you're waiting on. If you got anything that you would like for me to speak on, write it in the email. No cap, no filter 7 at gmail.com. If you don't feel like going to the email, go ahead on and hit up the comment section. I read all comments and, you know, tell me about something that you'd like for me to touch on, and I'll get around to it. Or if you got something that you want me to react to, send it to the email, no cap no filter 7 at gmail.com, or write it down in the comment section. Until then, y'all have a happy holidays. Make some good financial decisions. Don't go broke these holidays over stuff that's unnecessary. And peace.